Hi everyone, so this is day 5 of ML challenge part 2. In last part we discussed about lists and then like list indexing, list slicing and everything. And this part we're going to discuss about list methods, then tuples, after that loops and list comprehensions. So let's start with list methods. I have already made a sample list with the name countries. I'll just run this, right? It's perfectly fine. So list methods are like function which will help us to manipulate with the list. So I'll start with the really first method, which is copy. So this method is used to make a copy of the list. Let's say our variable name is L1. We'll call the list and then we'll just write copy, right? So let's call L1, right? So L1 is exactly same as countries. We have made a copy of list L1. So now what we are going to do here is with list L1, I'm going to use some of the really common methods with this list. So let's start with the really first method, which is append. Right. So we'll write L1 dot append. So append is used to add new elements to your list. Let's say we want to add Japan here. Yep, that sounds great to me. I'll just print again L1. Here you go. So now list L1 has Japan in this. So if I call the main list, which is countries, this is exactly same. So the benefit of making the copy was that we can make a comprehensive comparison between both the lists. So this is L1. This list is countries, and then if I go to L1 only, then the list L1 is with Japan into this, right? So this is about the command append. I'll discuss one more method with you, that is pop. So what this method do is pop will actually remove and return the last element of a list, right? L1 dot pop. I'll just get rid of this L1 append. Let's see, right? So it has removed the last element, Mother Russia. That means now our list doesn't contain this element. Let's see if it's fine. Here you go. So now list L1 has no element name as Mother Russia. It's USA, India, Australia, Canada and Europe, because we have removed L1 after running L1.pop. So this is just one of the list method, right? So there are quite a few different methods like this in the lists which we can use to go around and which we can really use to play with the data here. Like one of the more common methods is list.index. I'll use that method after this. Here you go, countries.index, and let's say I want to find India here. Here you go. So what this is giving me, this is giving me the index. That means where this list is, the element is. So just remember that the list starts with 0. So USA says 0, India is at 1. So dot index will give us the list element number, that is 1. We can also ask for the Boolean values from list. Let's say we want to ask that USA in countries. It says true. Yes, USA is there in the list name countries. Let's say I'll ask UK in countries. It'll say false because UK is not the part of that list named countries, right? So this is about the list methods. I'll jump on to the next topic, which is tuples. They are exactly same as list, almost exactly same, but there are two key differences. The first is the difference of syntax. There's a different way to declare tuples. The second is they cannot be modified. So this is the most important part. If you haven't learned about list, I'll recommend you to go to part 1 of the list. List can be modified if we can really change the elements of the list, but with the tuples you can't do that. So these are the two key differences between list and tuples. So in syntax, how do we need to declare tuples? We need to use parentheses instead of using square brackets like list. So let's say this is tuple. This is T, 5, 6 and 7. This is the tuple. How we declare a list? We use square brackets. Here we use parentheses, right? Let's say I call T here. Here you go. That is a tuple. They cannot be modified. Let's say I want to modify and I say that T0 should be equal to 1 rather than 5 or 6 or 7. Let's say if it allows us. Nope, it gives us that tuple object does not support item assignment. So these are the two key differences between list versus tuples. So what is the benefit of tuples? So the thing is that they are often used for the functions that have multiple return values. Let me show you one simple example of a tuple. Let's say x is equal to 0.125. Now I'll use this inbuilt function of tuple as integer underscore ratio, and we'll call this function right now 1 and 8. So what it's giving is that 1 and 8 are the value of numerator and denominator. So if you divide if you divide 1 and 8 together, we'll give this we'll get this thing 0.125. So it will this is the basic use of tuples, that it is used for the functions that have multiple return values. So this is about list methods and tuples. Now I'll jump on to loops. In loops we'll discuss two key loops, for loop and while loop. They can be really handy. So we'll use our list again, countries list. What I'll say for x in countries. So what I'm asking this for loop is that for any value inside the list countries, right? I'll just remove this cell, it's not of any use anymore. Right, so our list name is countries right now. I'll just clear this part also. Here you go. So our list name is countries, right? So what I'm asking this loop is for x, that means for any value like USA, India, Australia in countries, do what? I'm saying print x, that means the values inside the list, and make sure that they are finished with a space, that is end is equal to a space between these commas. Let's run this loop. Here you go. It will give us a complete list, US, India, Australia. Let's say I remove this space, it will do it like this: USA, India, Australia, Canada. So for loop is used to, you can say, execute the same code which is going to be repetitive, right? So this is really a basic overview about for loop. For loop can be really advanced, they can be really handy, but definitely I'm not going to discuss these in details. I'll just share one more example with you guys here. Let's say we declare a simple string. Let's say string name is A, and I'll say, let's say we are learning Python for ML, or I'll say this is a part of 30 days ML challenge, right? So this is a string A. What I'll do here is I'll just initiate an empty variable, then I'll say for character in string, that means for anything inside this string name A, if is upper. So this is again a function, inbuilt function is upper, which means that if the value is of uppercase, we haven't actually declared any upper, we have actually one M. I'll say print character and is equal to this. Let's say how it goes, right? So we only have two uppercase character in this complete line, right? M and L. Let's say I declare this Python as uppercase, then I'll say L as uppercase. Now we'll run this again. Here you go. So it's L, P, M and L. What this for loop is doing is it's saying that for anything inside this string A, if anything is of uppercase, is upper is an inbuilt function, what you need to do is that run a print command, print statement, and then just print that character, right? This is what's happening inside this for loop. This is about really basic thing in the for loop. There is one more common function known as range, which is really popular function in Python. It will help us in looking at range. So I'm saying range 5 print, let's say we'll say important job dot I comma I, sorry, that'll be I, right? So I have done a wrong syntax here. Let's run this if C's work. Here you go, right? Important job dot I is equal to 0 1 2 3. So it's what this range is doing is it is actually running this for loop from 0 till 4. So when you say 5, that means it's starting from 0. That's a really important part. So I'll jump on to while loop now. I think that's it for loops. As I said, as we will move ahead, we'll discuss more in details. While loop are just another type of loop which will, you can say, again iterate, which will keep on iterating until some sort of condition is met. I'll give you a really simple example of while loop. While I is less than 10, we'll say print I. So what we are doing here is we have actually initiate a variable I which is equal to 0, and now we are asking this loop while I is less than 10. That means keep on running while the value of I is less than 10, right? Then we'll say I to 1. Let's say how this thing run. Oops, so I think I have tried a wrong syntax here again. There is something wrong. Let me see. Let's see why this is not allowing. Oh, yep, here you go. I forgot to close the bracket. It's again not allowing me to print. Weird thing. There you go. Let me check why it's not allowing me to do. Maybe my indentation is wrong. This is fine. This look fine. Nope. An extra bracket was there. Here you go. So what it does is it gives us these values, right? So I is 0. Initially it's 0, and it's gonna run this loop until I is less than 10. Let's say if I say I is less than equal to 10, now it will print till 10, right? That's how it works. So it will be 0 till 10. If I say I is less than 10, it will print like this. So this is a simple example of while loop, right? Now let's jump on to list comprehensions. What are these? I'll just remove this code block again because it's not needed anymore. We'll discuss about strings in day 6, sorry, and in day 7 external libraries. I'll make a new video about that. So list comprehensions are, let's say, they just offer us a really shorter syntax when we want to like make a new value or create a new value. It's more of like you will save time if you learn about how to write list comprehensions. So I'll give you a simple example. Let's say which is scarce. What's happening here is that variable name n is going to multiply for n in range, sorry, that will be 10. Let's call this variable again. So what's happening here is we are saying that n, whatever n is, it should be multiplied by 2, right? Then we are calling a for loop for n in range 10. That means from 0 to 9. Let's call this and see what happens. Here you go. So what it's doing is it's the square of 0, square of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Range 10 means that is less than 10. Let's say I make range 11. So now it's gonna give me the square, right? From, as I said, the range things start from 0, so it's 0 to 9. So that is an example of list comprehension. So how this thing is different? Let's say I need to write this same code in a different way. Square for n in range 10. Now we'll call it again squares dot append, and then we'll say multiply this by 2, square it, right? Now we'll call squares. So now if you see what is the difference between both of these codes. So right now if you see, the difference is not too significant, right? It will give us the exact same thing, but what is the difference, right? The difference here is that this is taking 4 lines, so the thing is that it's going to take more runtime, and as far as this code is concerned, it's going to take less runtime. That's how it works, right? It's gonna save the space as well as time. That's the major benefit of list comprehensions. This thing is gonna be really handy, as I have told you. When you jump onto machine learning, you have to run a lot of machine learning models, and the better your code is, the less space it's taking, the less runtime it's taking, the better it's for your model. So this is the major benefit of list comprehensions. I'll share more example in the future videos, but for now being, this is it for day 5 part 2. I'll see you with the day 6. Thank you.